We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're going to get kicked out of being number 2. You're going to go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a 3rd grade education would tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, if I haven't spoken in this instance, number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single kind. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of every 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America. Systemic racism that has plagued our nation for far, far too long. I said that over the course of the past year that the blinders have been taken off the nation, the American people. But what many Americans didn't see or had simply refused to see couldn't be ignored any longer. Those 8 minutes and 46 seconds that took George Floyd's life opened the eyes of millions of Americans and millions of people around all over the world. It was the knee on the neck of justice, and it wouldn't be forgotten. And it's not white Americans' fault, but just a fact.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farm. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. Now, this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives. Good evening on the West Coast. Good evening in the Central. Good evening on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the reparationist perspective, bringing you those ADOS, Adocs, FBA, B1, hot topics, and making the case for reparations, making the case for weaponizing our vote and socializing our suffering. And today, I am going hard in the paint on these coons that had the unmitigated goal at our HR40 hearing to say that we aren't owed reparations, right? You got Owens, who's worth, what did I say up in here? Let me find it. I think he worth like 35 million. Larry Elder's worth 16 million. Herschel Walker worth 12 million. Okay, and they want to sit up here in our HR40 hearing and say that we aren't due the reparations. Who would we pay? Why? We're equal. That was a long time ago. Larry Elders had the unmitigated gall to say, we don't study hard enough. Oh my God, let me go to my notes. It's too much. What did this Mickey Vicky say? Lord, I'm trying, y'all. See, Nam Yeho Renge Kyo. Okay. Let me jump to my notes. This is too much. It is too much, family. Oh, do Jesus keep me near the cross, the horror. Where are my notes? Oh, Lord, did I wipe them out? What did I do? That's 226 notes. That's on 219. What? Okay, did I forget to put it in here? Lord, today. Okay, family, basically, he said that we don't study hard enough. This is Larry Elder. The reason why we're poor is because we don't have fathers in the home. I mean, it was an entire ish show. Okay, I'm trying not to cuss. I'm gonna try to keep my cool. I'm gonna do my best. I can't promise. I am hotter than fish grease. That we were pushing for Adocs to be present with the data. We pushed and pushed and pushed on Sheila Jackson Lee, who wants to do illustrations with, slavery backs. We pushed to get lead economist, Duke Professor Dr. William Sandy Darity at that hearing to counter this nonsense that had a bigger voice in the room than Adocs. How in the world do you allow this to happen at a second hearing? How in the world are y'all just pontificating, everybody just throwing out sheer conjecture about the condition of what we're in the race to prevent from becoming the permanent underclass? How come y'all there and y'all don't know the facts? And me on the reparationist perspective, with a limited audience, does the homework and gets the data. Y'all could have just looked up my show. Y'all could have looked up any one of the shows that's dealing with this argument to even be informed about the data so you could counter the garbage that was coming out of the mouths of Owens, Elders, and Walker. It was deplorable. It was unconscionable. Before I go in, let me say hello to my illustrious co-host, Debonair One, Mike Michelson, Sean Hampton, Gibson Eugene, Kelly Pryor, Shannon Ward, Third James, Toolbox Evolution, Terry Lewis. I don't know who new account is. Welcome. HR40 is a total and complete scam. Terry Lewis. Okay, let me scroll down. Herb Saint, I see you, fam. Mercedes Boy One, I see you. Okay, I already need my drink here. This is agua. I'd be too drunk to give you the data if I get in going now, but Lord have mercy, it's had me up. I've been sleepless ever since the HR40 hearing. So now that I get it, and to those of you who have yet to type in the chat, welcome to the live. Some of you I can see, many of you I cannot. Welcome one and all. Now, to Jesus. Okay, so let's begin with the fact that we all saw the sham, the parade of these coons that literally sat up here while we are being disproportionately executed by the race soldiers. That was another thing Elder talked about, how black on black crime and murder is more significant than government sanctioned execution. These mofos have set us back 800 years, which is probably about as long as we've been here. Listen, it was unconscionable I cannot believe that this was allowed. And the Democrats, the people that spoke on behalf of reparations, had no data to counter what they allowed to go on and on and on. How do you not know the numbers where your people are concerned, Sheila Jackson Lee? It's time for you to go. It's time for all of y'all to go. You're sitting up there. Not only do you not have the data, you got the unmitigated gall to say no cash repair. No, on both sides of the aisle, there won't be no cash. Well, we saw what happened to affirmative action, right? That was intended to make us whole. We benefited for it from the boomer class. Then they started rolling up white women, immigrants, and LGBTQIA, XYZ, the alphabet, okay? So, very limited Adocs even get affirmative action. Ward Connerly in 96, and Adocs, as bad as Herschel, Larry, and that Owens, he basically took away affirmative action with Prop 209. I'm going to get into it. Let me go one at a time. Let's deal with the New York Post article. Many of you saw the sham, so I'm not going to be playing that. It's traumatizing. I can't do it. But I'm going to counter this New York Post article. Now, mind you, I've yet to see an article in favor of the reparations, but you best believe they took this fool who's worth $12 million and can't even speak the king's English and made him the poster child for why there is a no to reparations, using Adocs against Adocs to further oppress us and tether us to the bottom of this country as a permanent underclass, as the legs of the table permanently that all of them eat from. Okay? This is nightmarish. It is hellish, but let's get into it. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to share the screen with an article, the New York Post, and I'm going to be commenting in between. Y'all know how I do. Okay? This is deplorable and abominable on so many levels. I just wish they would stop. I wish we could get rid of. We need to raise money in the Equity Advocates PAC and find someone to groom to take Sheila Jackson Lee's ass all the way out. For her to even allow this without, listen, I know that the Republicans get a pick. I get that they get some selections, but why in the entire hell are you not listening to the reparationist movement that is imploring upon you to have Darity there, that is imploring upon you to fix the HR40 edits? That is where you're epically failing us. Showing pictures like we're in kindergarten. You guys, all of you, can roll off the history, but you want to sit up there and act like our white oppressors, like you don't understand why 90% of us share less than 700 billion compared to white folks sharing over 100 trillion. Y'all gonna act like slavery totally didn't have anything to do with it, that we've all got freedom to be educated, and the education is what we're not doing the homework, we don't have daddies in the house. You really are trying to make us eat the cost of slavery while opening the floodgates to immigrants to give them a pathway to citizenship before making us American. Well, let me help you understand something. We are here. We ain't going nowhere. We've been here throughout all of it. We are still in the trenches working. So if you see bags under my eyes, it's because we are leaning in. Do you hear me? So let me show you what in the entire, you know what, I'm going to try not to cuss. I'm going to do my best. You've got to see what this article, this New York Post, where is it at? Lord, I done brought everything up. Where is my New York Post article? Hold on, family. Y'all know I have to be producer. I got to be it all over here. Give me a second while I find my article. I must have. Here we go. Okay, let's come back. Let's come back to StreamYard. And there it is. There it is. Okay, let's get into it. Can y'all see this? Let me see here. Okay, let me blow it up a little bit more. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna keep myself on the screen. Last time it blacked out. I took away the green screen. That might have been interfering. I don't know. But let's get into it. And I'm going to be commenting in between. I got lots to say. Y'all might as well kick back. Arthur Ward's supposed to be over here. I reached out to him. Hopefully he can make it. But I'm here to tell you, we are hair on fire since this HR40 hearing. That's all we can meditate on. And not only do we have a fixed HR40, we've got our own legislation to knock it out the box. I can't speak on it because it's in edits, but we are coming hard for this government. Do you understand me? That's what we're doing. Hold on, guys. Not appropriate. Okay, so let's talk about how the New York Post and all the papers, Herschel Walker, can't even speak the King's English, gets a seat at the HR40 hearing. Herschel Walker tells Congress Black Americans should not get reparations. Woo-wee. Legendary former pro football running back Herschel Walker on Wednesday led conservative resistance to slavery reparations during a congressional hearing. Walker, who played in the old USFL and NFL over 15 years, said reparations might require Black Americans like himself to use genetics company 23andMe to calculate their pay by percentage of ancestry. And he argued African Americans also were involved in the slave trade, which the U.S. abolished in 1865. First of all, God, help me to stay calm. Okay. Okay. There's a resistance to slavery reparations, and yet I have shared with you guys at the top of the show that we are owed on the low end $104 trillion. I mean, for all of it, for the Homestead Act, how they took away the 40 acres and a mule. Hold on, guys. Let me get my book. Okay, I got to read straight from here because I need you to understand this fool admitted in the hearings that he just started studying reparations a year ago. I've been at this since around 2014, but he gets a seat at the hearing. The Republicans chose him. So let me just go over. I know my old school know this already, but I'm trying to make a point as I go through here. I got to shore up everything I'm saying with the data that was not presented at the HR40 hearings by the Coon Show on both sides of the aisle. Slavery from 1619 to 1865. Now, some researchers say we're owed 24 trillion. Others say we're owed 93 trillion. Sean D. Rochester in the Black Tax took a middle and called it $50 trillion. The present value of Black labor in 1860. Now, this book was published in 2017. So I'll tell you what it doesn't include when I finish going through this. Since they failed to do their job that we pay them for at the HR40 hearing, I got to do it over here. Present value of Black labor in 1860, 22 trillion. Homestead Act, 1862 to 1935. Now, this is when they took away the 40 acres and a mule from us and gave white immigrants and our white oppressors 93 years of everything that we were entitled to after the Civil War. Okay? Now, this number is going to be rechecked. It doesn't sound right that all it cost us was 1.6 trillion. Slave sharecropping / Jim Crow society from 1870 to 1935 is calculated at $15 trillion. The Great Economic Expansion from 1935 to 1965, labor is calculated at a $4.4 trillion Black tax, education, $2 trillion Black tax, housing, $1.75 trillion Black tax, post-civil rights era From 1960 to the present, up and through into 2017, when the book was published, 6 decades of a persistent Black-white employment gap. $3.3 trillion is what that Black tax is. Missing intergenerational inheritance, $4.2 trillion. Now let's go to continuing costs. This is around $735 billion in recurring. When I added those top numbers, it came to around $104 trillion. And I'm gonna tell you what it don't include in a second. Post-civil rights era, 1960, okay, we did that. Continuing costs, $317 billion per year is the current cost of lost equity value. $20 billion per year is the current cost of 350,000 missing Black teachers. $30 billion per year, current lost income from Black prison population. $80 billion per year from persistent 6-decade Black-white employment gap. $72 billion to $93 billion. I took $93 billion. Lost in 2005 to foreclosures from discriminatory subprime lending. $94 billion to $123 billion cost of workplace discrimination in 1970. Okay, that was the $735 billion in recurring. Now, let me share with you what that number does not include. I'm going to my notes. Woo, to Jesus. Keep me near the fence. Okay. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor medical apartheid, nor Freedmen's Bureau Bank, nor the theft of our intellectual property, nor the compound interest from 2017 when the Black tax was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. Now, the number I'm working with, as you all know, altogether now is for what? Slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives, okay? So he wants to say, these conservatives want to be resistant to slavery reparations, and the Democrats are resistant to anything but programs that they give with the left hand and give away with the right. That's how much of an issue the HR40 hearings were. Moving on, Walker, who played in the old USFL and NFL over 15 years, said reparations might require Black Americans, okay, we did that part, to use 23andMe. Let me go to this part. We were insured. We were chattel slaves. None of us who descend from American chattel slavery have a hard time tracing our lineage back to our enslaved, and neither does this government. So this moron picks up a book from a year ago, and some Republican talking points, they must have gave him flashcards. He don't even speak the King's English. It's worth $12 million. And so these are Republican talking points here, that he did his best. I mean, my God, my daughter was reading better than him at 4. Anywho, let me get off dragging him for filth. But he wants to sit up here and act like it's going to be difficult to know who descends from chattel slavery. We were insured as chattel, number one. The government has all the records, number two. And many of us still have our master's last names, Jones, Smith, Lewis. Okay, like this is not hard to find who descends from U.S. chattel slavery. The way they're sitting up here trying to pretend. We are about, I want to say 86% to Black immigrants, 14% and on the rise. They're trying to replace us with Black immigrants who come from money. Many of whom come from the slave traders. They descend from the slave traders in Africa. Not all like Larry Elder was sitting up there lying. They were under oath. His ass needs to be prosecuted, as do the rest of them, for just spitting stuff out the side of their necks without any data to support it. Anywho, I digress. So he says you have to go through 23andMe to calculate their pay by percentage of ancestry. And he argued African Americans also were involved in the slave trade, which the U.S. abolished in 1865. First of all, African Americans were not involved in the trading of slaves. Secondly, the trading of slaves stopped about, oh my God. We've already covered this in my archives. Okay. So let me, thank God I have some notes here. It says, I want to read this little bit to you because Africans sold us into U.S. chattel slavery. So this, like I said, this Nimrod who can't speak the king's English is sitting up here talking about we traded ourselves into slavery up and through our emancipation. Lies. Hold on 1 second. Where are you, Arthur Ward?
I keep telling you, send the link to my email.
Oh my God, I already did. I already did.
I can get to it.
Okay, I already did. Check your email. I'll resend it. I'll put you on speaker. Whatever we got to do. Just check your email and see, and text me if I didn't send it.
Okay.
All right. Oh, to Jesus, y'all. ADOS life is happening. That's my co-star helping me to plow into these numbers. But let me read you this. Okay, this is Black Tax from 1619 to 1890 from slavery to emancipation. Now, if I can pick up the book and read, why can't the Democrats to defeat and to shoot down all this nonsense this fool was spewing? The first 20 or so African captives arrived in Jamestown, Virginia in 1619. They were originally transported by slave ship from what is modern day Angola to Jamestown and forced into slavery. This marked the beginning of slavery as a practice and institution in colonial America. The slave population in 1619 grew from approximately 20 people to a population of 700,000. 700,000 slaves by the time of the first U.S. Census in 1790. So we had census, we had insurance, we have our master's last names. What's the problem here? Anyway, I digress. Okay, so the slave population in 1619 grew from approximately 20 people to a population of 700,000 slaves by the time of the first U.S. Census in 1790 to 2 million in 1830, and then to approximately 4 million by 1860. During that time, America grew from a series of small colonies to a massive independent country that produced the most valuable commodity in the world, raw cotton. Fueled by abundant credit, limitless, cheap, fertile land, and an ever-increasing supply of enslaved free labor, America became extraordinarily wealthy and powerful and accumulated enough capital to become the greatest beneficiary of the industrial age. The largest appropriation of land that the world has ever seen, combined with the almost complete extinction of tens of millions of indigenous people, augmented by the most brutal and restrictive form of slavery that has ever existed, set the foundation for the greatest accumulation of wealth in the history of the world. Now, in 1808, so from 1619 to 1808, 1808, family, is when America banned the import of slaves from Africa and the West Indies because it cut into their profits. Okay. William Spivey 3/21/19. So in effect, from 1619 to 1808, slaves were imported. From 1808 to 1865, the way we grew from 2 to 4 million. No, that's wrong. Okay, 2 million by 1830. So that 2 million growth spurt from 700,000 in 1790 was due to the breeding farms. 700,000 in 1790. In 1808, it was banned. And they're talking about 2 million of us by 1830. 30 minus 8. 22. 22 years to get to 2 million. Hold on, guys. It's not there?
No.
Okay, let me send it. Okay. So, between 1808 and 1830, we grew from 700,000 to 2 million. From 1790 to 1830, 22 years of breeding, okay, created the difference between the 700,000 and the 2 million by 1830. From 1830 to 1860, 30 years, they bred us so tough. We created in 30 years, we created 2 million more slaves from the breeding farms where we were raped. Do you understand what I'm telling you? And this Mickey Ficky wants to say African Americans were involved in the slave trade, which the U.S. abolished in 1865. Now, if I've got this data, where was Sheila Jackson Lee and all the rest that were sitting on there to counter this nonsense? Why weren't they taking notes like you do in a debate with all the education that was sitting up there? Why weren't they taking notes? Okay, to counter the nonsense coming out of these fools' mouths. Hold on, guys. I got to share the link with Arthur Ward so he can come in. Oh, Lord. How do I do that? Sure. Give me a video file. Oh, that's a Lord. Oh, Lord. Invite. Okay, let me copy it to the clipboard and get him over here, guys. Just give me a second. I'm sorry. This is a little choppy because he didn't get the link. Just give me a second, family. Oh, Lord. Where is the Friends of Adocs? Okay, here we go. To Arthur. Let me let him know, guys. Just give me a second. This is what happens when you don't have a producer, honey. In due season, I suppose. But I got this data. Now that's what I got, okay? Okay. So, since he's about to come on, let me go ahead and finish up some things. So, I need you guys to understand that this was something completely in their control, okay? That they could have had this data. Hold on one second. Is he there? There he is. Arthur?
Yes.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yeah, I kept telling you to send it to me by my email. The weather has messed up our internet cable. So I've had to use my laptop on a hotspot.
Oh, no worries, my friend. Well, if
Yeah.
it gets glitchy, the show must go on. I
Okay.
will bring you in over the Bluetooth speaker. We're going to have this show today. So I'm going through this article from the New York Post, and I'm infusing my talking points. So listen and then take your notes, and then I want you to weigh in while I take a breath, okay?
Okay. Sure.
We have a lot. I hope they got their libations. We going hard.
Okay.
So I'm going back to the article. Okay, Arthur, to catch you up, I just explained to them, I ran down a list of the reparations we are owed in the trillions. I share with them about the recurring that we're
I'm
owed.
on TV
And I
with
share with them
Angela
about,
Go ahead. No. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so I share with them about what we're owed and what's excluded in those trillions that I'm demanding, and I share with them also, I'm reading this article to the right of you, or your left, I'm not really sure. But I'm at this paragraph here where I talk about Walker sitting up here, Herschel Walker, acting as if we traded ourselves into slavery. African Americans also were involved in the slave trade, which the U.S. abolished in 1865. He's talking about, okay, maybe he means we were, I don't get what he's saying. He was a total numbskull to me. But the bottom line is I just explained to him, to my audience, that that it's easy to trace our lineage. The government has records. They insured us, and we have our master's last names. We're still about, I want to say roughly 86% of the Blacks in this country until they replace us with more Black immigrants. I also shared about how the slave trade stopped in 1808 because it no longer turned a profit.
Yes.
And that explosion from 700,000 slaves to 2 million in the first 22 years when trading slaves was stopped, it grew to 2 million. In the next 30 years, those breeding farms where we were raped and mated against people that weren't our husbands and the whole 9 yards, produced another 2 million slaves right in the States. Okay. So I was just making that distinction. So I'm going to move on. Walker, who campaigned for former President Donald Trump last year, said that he opposes reparations for both practical and moral reasons. Quote, we use Black power to create white guilt. My approach is biblical. Ooh, do Jesus keep me near the cross. How can I ask my Heavenly Father to forgive me if I can't forgive my brother? The former Dallas Cowboys star told a House Judiciary Committee subcommittee. So in effect, they want us to eat the cost of slavery and do more of this forgiveness like you see, like with the Botham Johns, and when folks want to come on TV after their family member has been executed by government sanction, they want us to just forgive it and forget it. Even though our people are dying disproportionately from COVID, have been redlined into environmentally racist communities and tenement housing, have a preschool to prison pipeline, have more men, women, and children in jail than all the people in prison throughout the known free world. The last to get hired, the first to be fired. There's a huge egregious income inequality gap. We're being replaced by immigrants who are doing far better than we are. I'm going to get into some of that data and show that to you momentarily, that being more degree doesn't mean more money for Adocs. We are locked out of contracts. We are locked out of access to housing. We are locked out of affordable housing. We are 50% of the homeless families in this country, more than that since COVID. That data has yet to be produced. And they won't give us loans for us to open up businesses while giving set-asides and tax breaks to the immigrants to open up businesses in our communities and treat us like ish.
And while choking Black banks so that we can't bank with our own to get those same types of loans.
Okay, so this Mickey Ficky wants us to forgive the over 100 trillion egregious racial wealth gap brought on by our government. We're just supposed to forgive it and forget it and just be reduced to living like fourth-class citizens in the country our ancestors built with their lives. While he is worth 12 million, Larry Elders is worth 16 million, and Burgess Owens is worth 35 million. All ADOCS, they're all Adocs, American descendants of chattel slavery.
Yes.
This is the Black white supremacist I constantly teach to you guys about, because the color of white in this country is green.
Yes.
You know, and these are the paid coons and bootlicks put in these spaces to deny us the justice claim to make us American?
Well, this is the group that we always have to roll over. You know, I've been reading the histories of other people that have justice claims. The Jews, when they were going after their justice claim, actually had quite a few people that were like Burgess Owens, Herschel Walker, Larry Elder, making powerful and logical statements as to why they shouldn't receive reparations. The Japanese went through the same thing. So I think that must be an endemic part of moving forward as a people, that we bring these kinds of people up to the forefront that try to put the brakes on their own people making any kind of progress. So these people, we have to both disparage and ignore and keep on with our justice claim. The other thing about people, not just people like Burgess and Larry Elder, especially Larry Elder, he really should know better. Making this who would get paid. They know perfectly well who would get paid. The problem with these people is that if we got paid, that would upset their particular position in white supremacy. And that is a particular class of people that are always troublesome. It's just like the more than 150 slave revolts in America that were put down. Every one of them were put down because one of us went to the white man and snitched. And, you know, without an understanding of history like that, these kinds of things will constantly keep us off center. Well, at this point, we can't be off center. We have to be after our multi-trillion-dollar generational payback. This is not a handout. This is what is owed. And understand this, folks. America is the very first country in human history that was established as its core as an economic engine. It's all about business. When we were brought over here, it was about business. When racism was created to control us, that is an economic tool, okay? And the things that we see happening right now with immigrants coming over here and being placed above us and having certain access to aspects of white supremacy, that is all about economics, okay? It is not about loving your neighbor, forgiving anybody. It is about business. And when it comes to reparations, we need to be about our business. We have a forced investment in this country. And the interest and the worth has compounded and exponentialized. Now we're at a point, we're at a tipping point where, because of the fact that we have not been paid reparations, even white people are losing money. You remember that Citicorp report, Angela, that talked about the cost of racism towards African Americans that was put out by all people, Citigroup?
Yep.
That said that this country, white people, have lost $16 trillion in the past 3 years because of the fact of racism retarding the development and the prosperity of African Americans.
You see? But they are willing to eat that cost before making us American, because they know we would be running things very differently than them, to our advantage.
Yes.
And they don't want that. Why is that, family? I've taught you this already. Capitalism requires a bottom caste. That's how capitalism works. And nobody wants to trade places. That's why you don't see Black immigrants in this fight with us. That's why you don't see white folks in this fight with us. I was reading when Biden said, you know, that he is in support of a study of reparations. First of all, reparations doesn't need a study. It needs to get done.
No.
That is a waste of time to pander for the Black vote come 2022. That is his way of trying to win back the seats he lost in the House and to get more weight in the Senate. So they're doing this dog and pony show. It's all political theater because there doesn't need to be any more studies. They've studied this thing to death. I mean, we've studied it. If we study it, you don't think they know these numbers as they sit up here and talk against cash repair, want to give more programs with the left that they can give away with the right? They know full well what they're doing. But anywho, I digress. I saw white folks talking about, I wasn't here, I didn't enslave you. Why do I have to pay? Arthur, could you speak to it?
Oh,
why do white folks and immigrants have to pay for the debt as they benefit from the profits from slavery? Come on.
All right. Well, dude, you ain't gonna never pay. You ain't gonna never ride on Air Force One, but you got to pay for that.
Yeah.
Right.
You ain't gonna ever pay for these wars, but you gotta sit through that. How your money spent on that?
Exactly.
So when it comes to us, they don't want to talk about cash reparations.
No. And I don't. You know what? And I don't blame them. You know why? And I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you something. It is the job of every group to figure out how to get on top. Half of the fault is with them, and the other half of the fault is with us. You know, there is a certain an underlying lack of self-esteem and self-interest that seems to reside within the Black community, and it still persists to this day. You know, we got people here that are not selfish enough as a group to feel that the Cobra and NARC view of reparations is the proper one. Oh, just get now. Well, they Black too. You know.
Jesus.
Yeah. So in other words, we are the Black people, ADOS people, are actually more of an impediment to reparations than the white people are.
Ain't it deep that we got to fight our own before we can fight white folks to unass our money? We got to fight Black folks.
We got to fight Black folks. You got the contingents that side with white supremacy that are emphatic about us not getting reparations. Then you also have the low self-esteem group within our people that feel that reparations is a pie in the sky. Then you have the Pan-Africanists that feel that we are not entitled to the entirety of our reparations, that our reparations, like Dr. Umar Johnson said a few months ago, he said out of his mouth that reparations don't belong to you, they belong to the diaspora. You know, and then
the same diaspora that sold us into slavery?
The same diaspora that sold us into slavery, the same diaspora that comes over here and says and believes that they're better than us, the same diaspora that doesn't even like for us to go into their restaurants because they want those seats reserved for white people and or people from their tribe. So it's like we got this whole mishmash of things happening within our race that are just heavy. You know, I was telling Cynthia, I have a lot of energy when I'm fighting Pan-Africanists and white people regarding reparations, but I lose my energy real fast when I have to fight amongst those that supposedly feel that we should get reparations, but have a very confused mindset as to the path by which we should do it.
Right.
It's very strange.
I want to ask you, Arthur, since you read up on how there was opposition with the other groups who ultimately got their repair, what did they do to the people that stood in the way? Did they shoot them? Because Harriet Tubman would have shot all these Mickey Piggies.
No, unfortunately not, but they just actually gathered their strength and pushed even harder. They kind of ignored the naysayers and the oppositionists. And that basically, I think that's what we have to do. But at this time, it's kind of like crunch time as far as—
we're out of time. We're at George Floyd 846. That's how out of time we are.
Oh, yeah. And this is what I was about to say. And it is true that we are out of time. At this point, We do not need to focus on anyone but 3 people: Sheila Jackson Lee, Jerome Nadler, and Steve Cohen.
Okay.
They need to be flooded with phone calls, emails, social media, meaning Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever they are, demanding that Dr. Darity's edits be put into HR40.
Okay, could you give me those names again? Sheila Jackson Lee.
Sheila Jackson Lee. Gerald is his first name is spelled Jerrold Nadler. He's the representative from New York. Huh?
Spell his last name. Nadler.
Yes, Nadler. He's the representative from New York. And Steve Cohen, Cohen, he is a Democrat representative from Tennessee.
Okay.
And as we know, Sheila Jackson Lee is from Texas.
I need y'all to wear them out. I'm going to share the link.
We need to wear them out. Don't pay any attention to Narco and Cobra. It's those 3 people that actually have the power to get those edits in there and get Dr. Darity in the door as far as like testifying, as far as modifying HR40. Just those 3 people.
Is it fixhr40.com? Is that where they go to get the instructions?
Yes, I believe so. But I believe so. Yes.
Okay. I just typed those 3 names. You guys need to give them the business every day. Let me help you with something. You need to do this like they did the bus boycotts and like they fought for civil rights. That's how y'all got to go hard in the paint every day to Twitter, wherever these people are. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Email. Okay.
Call their offices.
Phone calls. Y'all need to turn it out. This is the part where everybody gets to be in the movement. We need all hands on deck. And if you want to do more political advocacy, I have a new email address for Equity Advocates PAC. I'm going to leave this here for you to email me if you want to get involved. ajones@equityadvpac.com.
Right. You know what? The other thing too, this is the other thing that I want to put out there, and I really want people that are involved in other reparations organizations to think about and stop thinking kindergarten. This is about marketing. Okay. What I'm going to ask people to do, whether you're ADOS, FBA, B1, the hell with all that, stop promoting your individual organizations and start promoting reparations.
Yes.
Not your organizations. Yes, you're going to grow your organizations, but at this tipping point, we need to put reparations in the street. I'll give you an example of that kind of marketing. Black Lives Matter, as both a phrase and an organization, okay, it's an organization, but their organization is the name Black Lives Matter is not itself attached to an organization. It means what it says, Black Lives Matter. And it's out there. Okay? But we have several hundred organizations now out there dealing with reparations. Right now, we don't need to have organizational sectarianism when it comes to this particular question. Love your organizations. I'm glad people are standing up. People should call me, all right? But every one of us as an organization should not be putting the name of their organization out front. Reparations is what should be out front.
That should lead.
Reparations should be on your t-shirts. Reparations should be on your hats. Reparations should be the lead thing that is before your name. When on your website, reparations, your name is second. The cause is first. Your organization is second, because your organization is the means to the cause, and the cause is reparations.
Amen to that. So let's continue to dissect this so we can get through all these talking points.
Yes, ma'am.
America is the greatest. This is Herschel Walker speaking. America is the greatest country in the world for me. A melting pot of a lot of great races, a lot of great minds that have come together with different ideas to make Americans the greatest country on earth. Many have died trying to get into America. No one is dying trying to get out, he said. Now, see, to me, this is when they start this kind of pivot from what we're here for, right? This is what Biden did. And I played it at the top of the show as part of the intro. Biden, when asked about reparations, pivots to how immigrants make this place great, and we need to do everything we can in our power for Hispanics. This is more of that nonsense. Yeah. And they strayed off into the tumbleweeds often in that HR40 hearing. Arthur, did you have anything to say to that?
Oh, well, you know, propaganda, it can be good or bad. And what Biden is doing is propaganda, okay? Bad propaganda. It's a lie. That's okay, because politics is about marketing, okay? Now, the question is, what kind of counter propaganda are we going to put out to override that? And that's where we need to be strong. Immigrants didn't build this country. Black people built this country. Immigrants did not. Yes, absolutely. You know, like that other organization. I mean, there's a lot of truth in just the wording of it. Foundational Black Americans. Yes, we built the foundation of this country. There would be no country without our input, our initial input to get this thing going.
Right.
Okay. But at the same time, we as a people have to be proud of that fact and use that as counter propaganda whenever someone brings out that immigration shit. Because the reason why we have immigration is because the foundation that Black people built so well made it so appealing that it made it appealing enough for people from other countries to come here despite religious differences, despite language barriers, all that good stuff. You know, because if immigrants built this country, why didn't immigrants build where they came from?
Right.
Why didn't they stay there?
Come on, Lord. Teach, darling.
You know, why? What are you doing here? If you're such a great builder, why did you leave there where you came from to come over here and build? That's just like me, you know, that's just like leaving my 400-year investment in America to go and build in Africa, the land of the people that sold me, that sold my ancestors, that brought me over here in the first place. That makes no sense.
Come on now.
No, really. You know, it's just like people.
I love it.
You know, it's just like these Pan-Africans that are always telling us about repatriation. Well, if you notice, every Pan-African that I know hasn't repatriated. They're over here telling me to repatriate. They don't even have a house over there, a dog, a wife. They don't have nothing over there, but they're telling me to repatriate. Repatriate to what? Okay.
Come on.
So don't tell me nothing about no immigrants coming over here building anything. Whatever work that they do, they are just putting more bricks on top of the foundation that we already built.
Teach, baby.
And you need to be proud of that as a Black person.
Absolutely.
We are the most consequential group. We are the most consequential group that makes this country. Even the white man is subliminally aware of this. You know, we have the seats of power, the Capitol and the White House that were built by slaves. And then the middle of Washington is what? The Washington Monument. What is the Washington Monument? It's an obelisk. Who invented the obelisk? Egyptians. And where are Egyptians? In Africa.
You were telling some TR Ruth. Thank you, Arthur. Let me keep going. Reparations, where does the money come from? Okay, I got to stop you right there.
Mhm.
Nobody asked where the money came from. When we've sent about, and this is since 2013, the last count, $233 million has gone over to Israel for their armies and for their Holocaust that we had no role in.
No.
Obama, while he was in office, sent 12 million of our tax dollars.
Mhm.
Nobody asked about where that was going to come from. Nobody asked about the trillions that have lined the pockets of our government during this pandemic.
Mhm.
Nobody asked about the money that was spent to repair the Japanese for the internment camps. Nobody asked about the money used to repair the Indians with their casinos and how they made white folks $5 Indians.
Mhm.
Nobody asked about the money. Where's it going to come from? Of the bazillion dollars they spent on war.
Mhm.
But this Mickey Thicky asked, where does the money come from? Okay, they had no problem bailing this country out. I mean, in the trillions, they talk about another close to $2 trillion to make up the $600 that they gave us, while 703 of that 903 billion that they recently passed under Trump,
Mhm. Yeah.
703 billion went to foreign countries, lobbyists, and special interest groups.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, the House of Reps gave themselves, I want to say, $125 million pay raise.
Mhm.
We got $600 checks, and they don't ask nothing about that. They
Mhm.
give, and then 197 billion went to us for $600 a piece, we the people.
Right.
But nobody asked about where that money came from, poof, like the magic dragon. Can you speak on that a second, Arthur?
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, anybody with real sense knows where the money is going to come from, and that's going to come from the debt of the treasury. But some white people that ask me that money, I say, oh, well, you're going to get this, there's going to be a black tax. That's where the money's going to come from. Okay.
Ah!
You'll see it on your next when you file taxes. Yeah. For redlining, slavery, denial of GI benefits, Reconstruction, community burn downs, all that stuff that we wasn't paid for.
Right.
That's where the money's gonna come from.
Okay.
And it's gonna help you too, white people, because when we get that money, our neighborhoods are gonna be built up so well that we won't have any reason to move next door to you. You should love that. No niggas living next door to you. That way, and the more this tax that you can pay, because of the fact that us blacks over here are building our communities, you can go ahead and build that all-white utopia that you've always wanted since you've been in this country.
Because we won't be nowhere
Because we won't be nowhere near your ass.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
He goes on to say, does it come from all the other races except the black taxpayers?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And let me help you understand why. Don't come over to this country benefiting from the fruits of our heinous chattel slave labor that's still ongoing. Private prison industrial complex is the new slavery. Right. Okay. I done already told y'all, Kamala Harris, our top cop, told the governor as attorney general that she couldn't free the nonviolent offenders because she needed them to put out white fires in the white hills of the white homes for $1 a day.
$1 a day.
So please trust and believe slavery is not over.
Right.
Who is black? Now here he pulls an AOC. This is how these immigrants do. They play against the black and brown cards and the white cards until they can find where they're going to be most benefited. Right. AOC in one breath doesn't know what blackness is, but in the next breath, she's asking for reparations for her people in the Bronx for COVID. She knows the word reparations, but don't know what black is until it's time to weaponize reparation on behalf of her people.
Right.
So Herschel Walker, dumb bunny, asked, who is black? What percentage of black must you be to receive reparations? Do you hear this nonsense? Do you go to 23andMe or DNA test to determine the percentage of Blackness? Some American ancestors just came to the country 80 years ago. Their ancestors wasn't, here he goes, can't even speak the King's English. Their ancestors wasn't even here during slavery. What the hell? Some Black immigrants weren't here during slavery, nor their ancestors. Some states didn't even have slavery. Arthur, can you explain how slavery was everywhere?
Slavery was everywhere in this country.
Come on.
Slavery was everywhere in this country, and the surplus of slavery was everywhere in this country. See, before let me preface this with this, and this is just the overall thing about that particular hearing. This was constructed by Sheila Jackson Lee, Steve Cohen, and Gerald Nadler. Okay, what this actually was, was an insult to Native Black Americans. I mean, especially the two Jewish congressmen, Nadler and Cohen, who just really got their jollies off watching this whole thing because they knew it was 2 hours worth of nothing burger. Okay, now you got Herschel sitting there. He didn't write that. We had some white person that specializes in putting together coon talking points. He put that together and just handed it to her. Say, hey, put your reading glasses on and just read this. That's what happened, you know. And poor Herschel, you know, he's clearly retarded. He didn't know, you know. So please cut the brother a little slack, okay? And don't
oh my God.
You know,
someone said he suffers from a CTE. I think they called it a coon tackling experiment. Something crazy.
Yeah.
I was on the floor. I gotta find it so I can quote it. I was trolling.
But see, I don't even pay attention to people like Herschel Walker and Burgess Owens. The person that you really should have been watching was that Black professor woman that works with the UN with all her slick. She was a slick. I can't say that word on, but she was a slick so and so. Notice how she kept on saying international norms, colonialism. She kept talking about the diaspora. She was assisting Cam with internationalizing reparations. Okay. And anytime that you hear that kind of talk, that is a segue into seeding the idea of everybody Black in this country getting reparations. Okay. Anytime that you hear somebody talking about colonialism in conjunction with speaking about Native Black American reparations, they're full of shit. Our reparations claim is entirely domestic. It has nothing to do with colonialism.
Come on.
Okay, nothing to do with it at all. Okay. Secondly, the other thing about international norms. When have you heard of any Black descended person anywhere in the world being paid reparations according to any kind of international norm? Where?
Right.
Nowhere. International norms don't pay nobody. So don't bring that stuff over here, boo-boo. Okay? So I'm listening to this broad talking all of this. I said, really, baby? I said, okay. So let me pour you another glass of Pinot Noir and let's get this discussion going, baby.
Arthur, so, I'm missing your lovely face. Can I slide That's on? Better. Hey, okay. And then can you come up to my level? Oh, yes, praise the Lord. Yeah. He was looking like a midget. And I know you're at least a little taller than me.
Oh, I'm 6 feet.
Okay, see, I'm 5'11", see?
Ooh.
But in my heels, I got you beat. In my heels, I can rest my drink on top of your nice dome, okay?
Please.
We love you, Arthur. Arthur, could you please, while we're on the subject of Cam, could you please talk about how atrocious he was? It takes you to talk about it. Go ahead.
Oh, Cam, you know, Cam and I have had, let's say, an interesting relationship. You know, he's here in Chicago with me, right?
I know. And you give him that work, and it makes me so happy.
Yeah, you know, he finally blocked me on everything. We were talking regularly for a while, and he changed his phone number.
That's because you bested his ass, but go ahead. He didn't want that AW smoke out of the shot. He couldn't handle the smoke.
But you know, Cam is trying to get that $200,000 because he's in debt. Okay. He wants to be on that commission.
Now, why would he get $200,000 when it's supposed to be our repair? Is he one of us?
Oh yeah, actually, Cam is ADOS. You know what? When I first met him, I thought he might be Caribbean.
Yeah,
but he's not. I did some digging, along with some help with a couple other people. No, he's ADOS.
Wow, I didn't know that.
But he's afflicted with Pan-African syndrome. It's very hard to overcome. And once you get affected with that disease, all of a sudden you want to take everything that should belong to Black Americans and give it to everybody in the Caribbean and Africa. It's real strange, you know. But the thing is with Cam and in Cobra and NARC, it's actually a trilateral setup that's going on there.
Could you please break it down? Break it down to my audience. What's happening?
Going on with
and why
them.
Cam was there and Dr. William Sandy Darity was not.
Right. And also you notice that a letter from CARICOM from Sir Hilary Beckles was put into the record. Did you see that?
Well,
the first part?
Let me help you understand. I was watching it while doing. I was multitasking.
Okay.
And I was so nauseating. I couldn't go back and pick up what I missed out on. So please share.
Okay. This is what's going on. NARC and in Cobra, they want reparations to be open-ended. Okay. They want Black immigrants to be able to access Black reparations here in America, and no matter when they get here. In other words, a person from the Caribbean that's never been to America could literally come here, not even be a citizen, but still be eligible to collect on reparations. I mean, I could see reparations tours being set up so people can just come here. They have a nice little kiosk in the international section of the airport. They can just get their first check cut before they even leave the airport.
Oh my God, the horror!
That's what they want. That's what they want. But at the same time, CARICOM has no reciprocity for the rest of the diaspora for their reparations program. And they make it very, very, very clear on their website. But at the same time, so Hilary Beckles, Cam, and Dr. Ron Daniels, they always collaborate. They're always collaborating. Whenever you see a major reparations meeting going on here in America, there's Sir Hilary Beckles. At the first HR40 meeting, Sir Hilary Beckles was there along with 8 of his associates taking up seats in that room that should have gone to ADOS people. So if the CARICOM program is closed, but the NARC and COBRA program is open, what are they collaborating on? That's the question that you have to ask. And they're always talking. They're always seen together. Heavy communications going on. When you look on the boards of NARC and COBRA, you see a lot of Caribbeans. When you look on the board of CARICOM, there are no African Americans on that board. But over here, we got Caribbeans everywhere. There are fingers everywhere in Native Black American reparations. So I don't know what the setup is with Cam and these people from the Caribbean, but they do plan on sending reparations to the Caribbean and to Africa through their National Reparations Trust Authority.
But how do we shut that down?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, the first step is for the edits to get in there. And then for all reparations organizations to come together to solidify that reparations should only be accessed by Native Black Americans, period. I keep telling people all the time that anything is legislatively possible. Look at what they've done for DACA. Look at what they've set aside out of American money for illegal immigrants.
Do you know that number?
The number to what?
To what they've set aside for illegal immigrants.
No, I don't know that. I don't know that off the top of my head, but that's part of the budget.
Well, while we're on money and immigrants, I want to show you guys how Hispanics have less education than us, but are making more money nationally than us. Let me share the screen. This is what makes Larry Elder sound dumb as bricks. I'm about to show you. Give me a second, Black.
You know what? While you're looking for that, Angela, that is true that a lot. Now I'm just going by what I see in Chicago, because in my neighborhood, which was mostly Black, there are some Hispanics moving in. A lot of them do have less formal education than we do, but I do see quite a few of them coming here with skills. Carpentry, plumbing, even electrical. And then some of them, even though they don't have a lot of formal education, they do have those skills. So they'll take the certification classes so they can get certified. And they're basically running, a lot of them are running businesses out of their homes.
Well, that's great to know. But what I'm trying to make an example of here is that the stupido Larry Elder talking about how we don't do enough homework.
Oh, really? Yes.
Is the reason why, we're impoverished, and how Black fathers are missing from the homes. Okay. We have 1 million Black men in jail. That leaves what? About how many million Black men are there left? 17? I don't know.
Yeah, not much.
But the bottom line is, he sat up there and said that Black men aren't in the homes and that we don't apply ourselves in education. And so I'm trying to make a point here about, first of all, how we're locked out of access to education, especially higher learning, because it costs a grip. And when we do have education, we're not hired in the private sector akin to immigrants and white folks. So here I have some statistics. This is a percentage of educational attainment in the U.S. in 2018 by ethnicity. So white folks, 90% of them graduate from high school, 35.2 graduate from college. Right. Black folks, 87.9%. Almost as many of us are graduating from high school, but only 25.2% of us graduate from college. Asian and Pacific Islanders, 90.5 finish high school, 56.5 of them complete college. That's more than white folks and more than Black folks. Right. Okay. Hispanics, 71 fewer of them finish high school as compared to Black folks, and only 18.3% of them are college degree. Now, let me go over here and stop this and share another one. I want to show you the median incomes in relation to the education. Now, I've shared with you guys in the past that down here in LA, we are 44% of the degreed, 5% of the, we're down to 5% of the population, 6% of the private sector, 90% of the homeless. Okay, 90% of the homeless. I've also shared with you that Hispanics are 17% of the degreed. I've shared with you that our median income here in Los Angeles is $53,500. I'm at 44% degree, 6% of the private sector.
Oh, wow.
I've also shared with you how Hispanics, 17% degree, are within $3,500 of our median income. 17% degree, 50%, $50,000 is their median income. To American descendant of chattel slavery, 44% degree, and only 53.5 is our median income. Now, let me show you nationally what's happening. Hold on. I just showed you what was happening with respect to education. Can you see that, Arthur? So I don't have to come over.
Yes, I can.
Median household income in the U.S. in 2019 by race or ethnic group. Asians, $98,174 is their median income. Now, this is a group that Kamala and Biden, who 87% of our electorate voted for, want to give H-1B visas to come over here for more of these $100,000 jobs.
Oh, yeah.
H-1B visas for more tech jobs. Well, we are a 25% of us have degrees but can't get these jobs. They want H-1B visas while they set us up with preschool to prison pipelines, Larry Elder, with your dumb ass. White folks' median income is $76,057. My point on this is why they stormed the Capitol. Because they're not going to wait until they're on the bottom like us.
Right.
To make noise.
Yes. Also, I want to make the point about the storming of the Capitol. That had nothing to do with race.
No.
Nothing. That ain't got nothing to do with race.
All. And everything to do with shmoney. They are feeling this. They're feeling this.
That's right.
They're feeling immigrants, not white folks, on top. And they're mad as hell they ain't taking it no more.
No.
That's why Trump will probably be back in 2024.
Well, you know what? I think Trump is going to start on a whole new, as soon as he gets over these lawsuits, I think he's going to start a whole new political movement.
Yeah.
Like the Tea Party. It's going to be another Tea Party.
Yep. And he will win.
Yeah.
Because white folks ain't going for this right here. Now, Hispanics, we saw 18% college degree, but their median income is $56,113. This is nationally. We are 25% degree throughout the nation. Our median income is $45,438. Right. Now, when you look at these median incomes, are the race soldiers in the Asian communities? Are they in the white communities? Are they in the Hispanic communities?
No.
Or are they in the black communities?
They're in the black communities.
Because dollars bring dignity and poverty makes us a target. You want to speak on it, Arthur?
Yes, and poverty does make us a target. But the other thing that makes us a target too, along with that, because, you know, the police is politics. What are we doing with our so-called black representatives?
I tried with the Equity Advocates Pact to replace the lanes with full-chested reparationists. And I'm pushing that hard. But we don't get it. I just have to continue to market it. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
We're never going to get it with the likes of Sheila Jackson Lee.
No.
They will weaponize it to pander for the vote to stay in office.
That's all they're doing.
All this is political theater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Could you speak on how they talked on that hearing? Yet again, a second hearing, moving away from the narrative of cash repair.
Oh, you know what? Not just with the hearings, but this is almost universal. Whenever you see white liberals talking about reparations, and they say, well, you know, I support reparations, but then they always say, but I don't think it should be in cash. That seems to be a general talking point amongst 90% of the white liberals that I've seen on different media platforms talking about reparations. And then then they always stick in the whataboutisms. But at the hearing, they didn't do any whataboutisms, but what they did was this. Did you notice at the very end of the hearing that Congressman Cohen said that, you know, yes, he believes in reparations for Black people and others in impoverished situations?
Well, you know who that sounds like?
Who?
That white gentleman that I debated on Me and Be the Power debated on Tamara's show.
Oh, you talking about that professor?
That Richard, what was his last name? He was saying that he believed in reparations for victims.
Right.
Not the descendants of chattel slavery.
Right.
So this must be something that's rolling throughout the liberal white community.
No standing in the shoes for us.
No standing in the shoes for us.
Yeah, because when the Japanese reparations was redone, originally it was just directly for the victims. Now they amended it to include their descendants. Okay. Same thing with Jewish reparations. There's always this standing in the shoes aspect, but for some reason they don't believe that principles of inheritance, principles of in what I call entitled descendancy, because that's what we are. We're entitled descendants. Applies to Black people. I don't know why, but that's a form of racism.
Absolutely. And furthermore,
and that's
which
fine.
of those groups are continuing? Which of those groups' oppression is ongoing to the degree that ours is?
Right. And that's fine.
Like, this number that I'm talking about is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing. Systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage. How do you have numbers like this and you're more college degree than even Hispanics, and now they're producing higher incomes than we are?
Right.
And more readily hired out here. They're the ones that are running the show in the corporations out here. We're less than 6%. Those numbers I cited is from the Color of Wealth LA from 2004 to 2014. If you were to look at the numbers today, it will make your hair stand on its ends. Do you hear me?
Right.
It's atrocious. And then we had Ward Connerly take away affirmative action. Let me read a little of that.
Is he still alive?
Yeah. He actually talked out against Prop 16. Now he's worth anywhere between $1 and $5 million. And in '96, he talked against affirmative action for American descendants of chattel slavery, basically screaming what the other groups do, that it's reverse racism. And as a result, what happened as a result of that? Hold on one second. Yeah, he's worth between $1 and $5 million. And what happened once he got Prop 209 passed in '96? We tried to get Prop 16 passed. Why? Because listen to The UC Berkeley fall enrollment data from 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Native American, okay, let's go here. African American Black was 2.8%, is what we went down to when affirmative action was taken.
Mm-hmm.
The Mexican American Chicano, 11.5%. Other Hispanic Latino is 3.6%. Hold on. Let's go. Okay. I'm going to do 2020.
Okay.
African American Black, 3.7%. Mexican American Chicano, 16.4%. Other Hispanic Latino, 5%. Chinese, 16.1%. Filipino, 3.2%. Korean, 4.8%. South Asian, 11.6%. I'm scrolling down.
Okay.
White, 17.2%. International, 11.3%. 4.2% declined to state. Since Ward Connolly undid us with Prop 209, we have fallen in 2020 UC Berkeley fall enrollment to 3.7%.
Mm-hmm.
And he came out against 16, claiming the same nonsense that these other groups have been screaming, reverse racism.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, Prop 16 failed.
Reverse racism.
That's it. Furthermore, Ward Connolly is an American descendant of chattel slavery.
Oh, yes.
Worth between $1 and $5 million.
Not
he
that
helped
much,
to
actually.
undermine us in this way.
Well, I mean, for all of his work for white supremacy, he apparently isn't getting paid very well. If all he's walking around, with $1.6 million after all that work.
Yeah, I mean, Kamala Harris sold us out for less.
Well,
okay, she would not prosecute Steve Mnuchin of One West Bank.
Right.
When he wrongfully foreclosed on Adocs homes in the Bay.
Right.
Because he gave her $11,000 for her senatorial race.
Mm-hmm. You know what, though? Let me ask you this, Angela. How much of this do you feel is happening because of Black apathy as far as like political participation and having a spine in terms of pushing back against other groups and white supremacy to get policies done that will benefit them?
Oh, it has a lot to do with it. It has a lot to do with the sheeple not weaponizing their vote nor socializing their suffering. It has a lot to do with the fact that we couldn't clearly see after Obama, 8 years of Obama doing nothing for American descendants of chattel slavery and then doubling down by being a no to reparations. You know, the same one who went to Jeremiah's right church,
right?
Who denounced him. That should have been our wake-up call. The way he turned on the very minister that married he and Michelle.
Right.
That he was weaponizing Adocsness against us for the come up. To continue to embrace whiteness. You would have thought that the eyes would have been wide open. But this electorate, 87%, more than the 65% that turned up for Obama for 2 terms, showed up for the author of the 94 crime bill, segregationist Jim Crow Sloppy Joe, and Cali's top cop, Skamala the Chameleon. That was our people that delivered this race.
They sure did.
So when you see the numbers that came out, who thought it was a grandiose idea to replace a racist office of 4 years with racist plural in office of combined 65 plus years, then you realize that they're listening to the mainstream media instead of the new Black media.
Right.
And they're not invested in what's happening to their people because they're under this illusion of inclusion from the Black decadent veil.
Right.
They feel at one with a Barack and Michelle as if their wealth position is the same as theirs.
No.
They feel at one with Oprah Winfrey. They feel at one with celebrities like Beyonce. They feel like because they can go by the knockoff, that means them too. They don't understand the difference between having an income and having no wealth.
Right.
Until it's time, of course, to raise a GoFundMe
for a funeral.
So they are asleep in this illusion of inclusion. Instead of opening their eyes are wide open shut. Do you hear me? So
yes.
They're just going through, tiptoeing through the tulips as if they're good when they're struggling and they're relying on us who are also struggling to be their reparations in their time of need. Instead of getting in this fight for the reparations.
For themselves.
For themselves and their children.
Right. You know, one tweet that I put out recently is like, this is your money. NARC and Cobra and the House Judiciary Committee do not own this. This is your money.
Yeah.
You know, you need to be on this just as much as you own that nigga down the street that owes you $20.
Big time.
You know?
Yeah, you're right.
We're talking about Miss Robinson. We're talking about anywhere between $250,000 and $850,000 in initial wealth gap recompense, plus ongoing payments on
for at least the next 400 years.
Yes.
It took you 400 plus to drive us in the ditch. That's how long it's going to take you to drive us out.
Right. And the stupidity of white people, Black people's minds is not about trying to overrun or take over white people. That's just not the way we think. We just want to live in tranquility and some degree of prosperity with our own people, basically, just like you do. See, people miss the fact that Brown versus Board of Education was not really favorable to a lot of the people, especially in the South, when it came to equal access to schools. Black parents down there did not want equal access to schools. They just wanted equal resources for Black schools. If you know of any older people that had children during that time that's still alive, they will tell you right out the bat, they really didn't want their kids going to white schools. They just wanted the same resources for the kids because, you know, they didn't want their kids to be open to assault or overt racism because, you know, I'm not saying all white people, but generally, you know, white people can be really shitty neighbors. They just are. You understand? Yep. And I'm paying all this money to live next door to that. I'm taking a risk with my child, sending him to your school where he can be insulted and maybe beat down by, you know, some supremacist-minded kids. I don't want that. I just want equal resources. That's all I want. You know? And
that's right.
Yeah, you know, I am not for segregation, but I'm not with integration. Not really. You know, the only thing that we got to do is get Pookie together. Because we, you know, we're going to get the race soldiers off of us, but you're going to shoot us. Right, Pookie?
Right.
No. Okay. But this is where I'm at. I'm actually,
we gotta let me interject this real quick. Don't lose your thought.
Okay.
We've got to give the Pookies and the Ray Rays something to live for.
Exactly.
You cannot sit up here and not hire them and not give them access to America and not expect there to be Black on Black crime and murder.
Right.
That's the dumbest nonsense Larry Elder said, along with the rest of the stupidity he said. We act as if People treat Black folks as if we're the only ones with Black on Black crime and murders when we're robbed of resources. Can you share with how this was true of all the other groups before they came up on our backs?
It was true of the Italians. That's why they had mobs and stuff, because to a certain degree, other white people were locking them out of stuff, you know.
Before they were made white.
Before they were made white, you know. Black people, I don't even like the fact that we have to depend on white people for jobs. If they had just, you know what, if they had just left us alone after slavery without reparations and gave us protection, we actually would be just fine. We'd still be owed reparations though, but we would be
but we'd be doing better than fine.
Way better, because we were building businesses.
They decimated about 50 of our Black Wall Streets, and now they want to sit up here and pivot and just make us eat the cost of slavery while preaching, pull yourself up by your bootless straps, and look at Pookie and Ray Ray gunning folks down because we ain't giving them nothing to live for but a preschool to prison pipeline. Rahm Emanuel closed, 30 schools over there? How many Black teachers are still teaching while they're training the Filipinos to come over here earning $3,500 in the Philippines to educate? They come over here and get a $52,000 a year paycheck. That's what they're doing in Chicago, while Rahm is closing down Black schools and getting rid of Black teachers, and they want to scratch his balls over the fact that there's Black on Black crime and murder. Can you speak on it?
Oh yeah, and right now, you know, you got quite a few Black teachers here that are driving Uber for real.
Oh yeah.
You know,
but they're importing Filipinos to take over those jobs.
Yeah, but you know what? At the same time, I blame two things for that. And I say all the time, you cannot blame other groups for trying to stay on top. You know, it's like we are the ones that have to get into the game instead of being the pieces that are moved in the game. You understand what I'm saying? And I mean, look, I can lay a lot of at the feet of white supremacy, but I also can lay a lot of at the feet of us not being self-interested enough to get ourselves together so that we can properly fight these forces and come out ahead. You understand what I'm saying? Because we have the capacity. We have the capacity, and we can develop the ability. Because Black people, once we put our minds to something, it's over.
You're absolutely right. Okay. Mike Michelson said, cuss. He wants you to use expletives. Because I told him I was going to try to be good. He is so funny. Oh my God. I'm just jumping through because we got about 17 minutes left. Okay. I'm going through to see our family's comments and welcome the others. Let's see here. Shanna says, Ward was the worst type of coon in California. Too much influence within the UC college university system.
True.
Have mercy. Okay. Frida Gillespie, welcome to the live, my love. She needs to go. SJL should have been gone, is what Frida says. Sheila Jackson Lee.
Yeah.
Why in the world? This woman is just, to Jesus. What did you think about her constantly deferring to those pictures instead of the data during the hearing? Well, other comments.
That was emotional stuff.
It's pandering to me.
Yeah. There was no data. There was no data done at that hearing, if you notice.
This is what I'm saying, but they want to bring on these numbskulls and not have anything to counter it. How in the world you're not going to have Dr. William Sandy Darity to counter all this nonsense?
All this nonsense, right.
They could have had me there. They could have had you there.
But you know what? Again, that press that I was talking about earlier towards Lee, Nadler, and Cohen is the key.
Okay. Kelly Pryor says, and they are still receiving off of our struggle to present day. Absolutely. These are the ones that say, why should I have to pay? I didn't enslave you. Welcome, Terry Lewis. I have no patience, darling. I know you want me to calm down, but That's not this show. Cheryl Wilcox, welcome to the live. I'm just jumping through. Robin White, I see you, my love. Thank you for joining the live. Kelly, we all, Two-Box Evolution says, and I'm going to show it. We all live it. I guess I come to this show to be livid because I always leave her videos furious. If I have to be traumatized, I need some company.
Yeah, but I'm not mad at, you know what, Angela? I'm not mad at the opposition. I'm not mad at the opposition. I'm not mad at Narcan and Cobra, white folks, immigrants. I'm mad at us.
Right.
We need to get our team together.
What's a Nimrod, sis?
Listen, come on now.
Mike, will you please? Dana White, thank you.
My favorite book is
Twistat is up in here. I didn't know Twistat was up in here. What's he going by? I didn't see his name. Thank you. It was breeding farms. Yes, yes, yes. So just know that for the time they bought us here, they imported about 700,000 up until 1808.
Yes.
From 1808 to 65, they bred us and produced it was more than that. It's about the bulk of us were created through breeding farms.
Yes.
The bulk of us in this country, the bulk of the 4 million that were there at the end of emancipation, I would say 2/3 of that was breeding farms.
Yep, and more than 1/5 of those children were what some people now call biracial, which we shouldn't be using that term. That's a delusional term. Okay.
Can you please share why we should not be using BIPOC? What's up, Miss Lady K Love? I see you, baby. Go ahead.
Because it's gonna wash out the concentration of our claim, and we need to steer clear of those kind. People of color, BIPOC, all of that stuff is there. Minority, all of that stuff is there to try to fractionalize Black people, and we need to stop latching on to that stuff. It's no such thing as a biracial Black person. All Black people in this country, African Americans, we are all bi and triracial. That's one of the markers of being an African American.
Right.
You know, I'm 1/3 European. That's why I got these real light brown eyes. That's where that comes from. Okay.
I know that's right.
We got all kinds of shades.
Our key features. Look at our noses and the melanin, all different hues.
You know, that's why that white man came up with the 1-drop rule. Okay. I got people in my family that phenotypically look white, but they're Black and they claim Black.
And I mean, how many of our families actually have that? Where we are light bright all the way to blue black.
Right. Right. And then the other thing too, you know, there was a period right after emancipation where many Black, hey, what's up, Mike? Where many Black families were placing ads in newspapers to try to find lost family members that had been sold off. Do you know how many? Hey,
see, Mike,
do you know how many?
Angela, don't be breathing.
Don't be breathing.
Go ahead, Arthur. I'm so sorry.
Do you know how many families actually found their lost relatives? What the percentage was? 10%. So you don't know who you're kin to.
Right.
You don't know who you're kin to.
Thank you. Look, somebody says, I've been tweeting trying to find you a producer for a minute. I'm going to keep tweeting. Thank you, darling. Y'all know I'm in need of a producer. I know it's coming because you know what? I'm here to stay. What's up, Cynthia? There's your boo. You want to say hi?
Hey, baby.
Hi, Cynthia. Welcome to the Live, my love. Y'all, it just be a family reunion over here. I love my tribe. Dana White, why doesn't Mr. Darity, Dr. Darity ever appear at those hearings? Same for Mercer Baradaran, etc. Arthur, they don't want him there, baby.
Yeah, because Sheila Jackson Lee has the whole
They're not
list
serious.
of people. Yeah, no, actually, Sheila Jackson Lee has a whole list of people that she is going to make sure doesn't appear at those hearings.
But she'll bring in Cam Howard and folks, this watered down
She'll bring in Herschel Walker.
Well, she wasn't responsible for that. She was hot. The Republicans get to choose. Apparently, the representatives that were there for the Republican Party, they get to have a say in this. Those are who they chose. Because she mentioned in that article that they're forever using Black Republicans to come over to the HR40 hearings to undermine it. I don't think she minded so much because they love to blame the Republicans when they don't get stuff accomplished.
Right.
But we got 2 years of a trifecta from what they say. And to me, they're just stalling for 2022, 2024. They're going to ride this till the wheels fall off. While we, the reparationist movement at large, are going to continue to apply pressure. You know that same neck, that same boot to our necks? That's what we're doing for the reparations. We don't sleep. The movement takes cat naps.
Right.
So I don't care what you see happening on the outside. The real doers, movers, and shakers in this movement, like me, Arthur, many of them in this feed over here, this chat, we don't sleep.
No.
We are coming for it because the politicians respond to pressure, not applause. Okay. Herschel Walker alone won't disappoint you. Kelly Pryor is talking about the HR40 hearing. Now, he ain't the only one.
Right.
It's a whole lot of them. Like I said, Arthur, maybe you can speak to this while I'm scrolling. What was disappointing was not only the Republicans, but how the Democrats had no defenses. They couldn't counter any of the things that Larry was just throwing out there at the wall to see what sticks, along with Owens, along with Walker. They had nothing to counter it.
No, that was intentional.
How do you show up to an HR40 hearing and not know what's happening to your people to defend reparations and cash nonetheless?
No, that was intentional. There was not one person at that hearing that really wants reparations to happen. Not one. So why should they counter? No reason to. Just keep this flow going.
Third James says, shout out to Arthur Ward.
Thank you, Mr. James.
Nothing but love for the AW. Out the shot. Cynthia, what it do, sis? Third James giving you love. Mike, what up? Oh, Third James just shouting out the tribe. Let me. You just keep. I'm over here crying every time she says Vicky. I'm trying not to say mother pucker.
Right.
Okay. I'm trying.
Yes.
I know some of my church family be watching and they don't understand how I can be, you know, in the mornings, but by night.
Yeah, but see, we talking about two spirits here. We talking about the spirit that you pray to and the spirit of money. So, you know, at night, the spirit of money comes out.
They get the more cerebral. I call myself Jessica, that female version of Jesus. But over here, y'all get the Jessica to upset the money changers. You hear me?
Right.
So it's just, you know, I'm still doing my God's work. The God in me is still working.
I love money. I love money. That's why I stay so focused on reparations. And any nigga out there that is about their money and you ain't talking about reparations, you ain't talking about shit.
Period.
Fuck out of here. What you talking about? I'm about my money, but I don't know about no. Well, you don't know shit. Then get away from me. I don't even want that disease to rub off on me.
Okay. You got mayors throughout this country saying we're owed 6.2 quadrillion. And then folks want to tell me my 104 trillion plus is too much to ask for. Let me help you with something. Okay, let me help you with something. It's not our fault the debt is so high and continues to mount.
That's white people's fault.
That's white folks' fault.
Or
but
continue
away
to
the 48%
kick
of
this
mule.
can down the road.
Yeah.
They continue to kick this can down the road.
About the number. Stop it. Oh, y'all folks sitting up here afraid to tell white folks what it is.
No, keep kicking it, white people, because as you kick that can, the interest is growing. You're gonna have more niggas out there to pay. So you might as well get this shit done in 2021 while the COVID is down, so you don't have to look so embarrassed in front of your neighbors. Just go on and sign the goddamn check. just sign it. Get this shit over with, because I'm tired. You tired too? Good. We both tired. Sign the check. Tired. I can move my ass out your neighborhood. Go over to my black side, on the black side of town, and I don't have to deal with you because I got my money.
I got that shmoney, baby.
I got the money.
6.2 quadrillion means you each get a check, including your kids and your grandkids, for $151 million apiece.
Right.
So don't talk about your money and ain't in this fight for reparations. You alive.
Yeah. And white people should be grateful. It'll be so many white people making money off reparations. It's just like I keep telling people. And I tell white people this all the time. I said, one of the main companies that will make a lot of money from reparations is, guess what, Angela? Guess what? Guess who? Home Depot. Listen, this is why. Because the majority of black people will stay in black neighborhoods. But what they will do is that they will improve their houses. And using that money to make the black community beautiful, just like the white community. Black businesses, not all people is going to sit on their money. Black people are very entrepreneurial. All them little businesses that LaQuisha and Big Mama and all these people over here been operating out their houses, now that they got capital, they're going to be going to brick and mortar or getting their internet stuff set up. You know, I know if I'm still healthy enough, some of my reparations money is going to be developing more businesses and investments. This is all about business. This ain't about racial relations. Fuck that shit.
Right.
This ain't about none of that stuff. Now I want my son coming home with no white girl anyway. But it's all about money. Stop the kumbaya. Don't put no money in your pocket.
Yes. And Biden, I think this is what Cynthia's referring to. He wasn't even clear that he would sign HR40. That's that Biden nonsense. Once again, it's pandering, people.
Right.
They're not serious about getting this done. They will pander it for your vote. They're pandering for the black vote.
Right.
They're pandering to stay in office. And this is why we need to be politically educated.
Right.
So that we can read between the BS.
Right.
You know, because that's what black folks will run to the polls. He said he supports HR40. Could you please share with the audience while I scroll and highlight some of the comments, since we're running out of time, about how toothless HR40 is? And could you comment about how NARC and Cobra want to control the bank? If there's any morsels that come out of it, even though they're not talking about cash repair, they're talking very nominal, and how NARC and Cobra want to control that bank. Please share.
HR40 is actually very open-ended, and it is only about study, not about solutions, proposals, not about endings, okay? And then if reparations does pop off, what they want to do is to take all reparations resources, put it into an entity that they call the National Reparations Trust Authority, and control all reparations resources from there, which is something that they want to administer, okay? But through this vehicle, a large chunk of reparations will end up in the Caribbean and Africa. Because you got to remember that these people do not prioritize African Americans. They're Pan-Africans. They prioritize Caribbeans and Africans over African Americans. Matter of fact, many Pan-Africans have a certain contempt toward Native Black Americans because of the fact that they're not with the Diaspora and Kumbaya train to create this so-called diaspora and unity, which does not exist whatsoever. And you're talking to a person, I've been to 14 countries in Africa. Nobody, the only place where Pan-Africanism was talked about was amongst some professors that I met at the University of Nigeria in Nsusu, Nigeria, not far from Lagos. But the man on the street, all they're dealing with is surviving. And the tribalism is off the chain in Africa. It's no way. I keep telling people that if Pan-Africanism is going to work, it has to start with African governments first.
Yeah.
All right. And that's not happening soon.
And can you speak to how they want to be paid $12 million to study reparations?
Right. They want to study it. They want to
But they want to be paid.
Yeah,
so they want the regular salaries from taxpayers. They want the $150 million, whatever they just got increase in the COVID package.
Right.
And they want $12 million to study.
Right. And it's only recently that they modified HR40 to, I think it's like 12 months, okay, instead of this perpetual thing where they continuously study and we haven't come to a conclusion
drag it out forever.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
While being paid to drag it out.
While being paid, you know. So actually, it's a grift operation for the Pan-Africans. It's a grift operation for the Pan-Africans with no conclusion.
Right, and that's why we are coming up with our own legislation.
Yes.
To push that along with the edits. The edits are falling on deaf ears. And what Narcan and Cobra and the like are counting on is our apathy and political ignorance so that they can get over on giving our repair to everybody.
Right. You know, and actually now they're strongly collaborating with the Democrats because if reparations does pop off, they wanted to go according to like an AOC type deal to go to Black immigrants, American Indians, Hispanics, Latinos, you know, so we can get the good beef for our tacos. We want the beef, you know.
Oh my God, LGBTQIA,
LGBTQ,
white women.
Let's go back to LGBT. The only reason why we have LGBTQ is because LGBTQ is mostly what? White. If LGBTQ was all niggas, there'll be no goddamn policy for these niggas. Now they can be LGBTQ and do their little voguing and all, but you ain't getting no money. Not from us.
But you can trust and believe there will be $5 Adocs LGBTQIA, $5 Adocs whites, $5 Adocs Asians, $5 Adocs.
$3. Sale price.
Wait, Arthur. They gonna make us cut checks to give them a check.
Right.
It's not gonna cost.
It's not, man.
Any money.
Right.
We will have to pay for them to get our reparations.
Right.
That's how that's gonna work.
While Cam Howard is chilling in the Caribbean with his $1 million that he collected from doing the study of the study of the study. So these motherfuckers, man.
Let me finish these comments. Lawrence Jones says Johnny Cochran's case for reparations may have some breadcrumbs to counter HR40 because he was all about legacy and greatness. We need the Johnny Cochran on Code Award to shun and punish the sellouts. I don't really know what that means.
Hey, but you know what, Angela, let me tell you something.
Toothy, welcome to the line.
If Cam and company were really about our reparations, I wouldn't care about them getting 200 grand a year to do it.
Right.
Do you understand?
Right.
It's not coming directly out of our pockets. But the fact that these guys are going to sit there and collect $200,000 a year to fuck us,
right,
that's a problem. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's a certain amount of self-interest that's been bred into me because I was born into the Nation of Islam, and they gave me the insight.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mike is clowning. Did you see? He said, all our lives we've had to fight.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Especially in Chicago, you know.
Oh my God. Isn't that Oprah from The Color Purple? He is just all kinds of funny. Right. Oh my God. He is funny. Okay, let me get off that. So you were talking about being raised in the Nation. Go ahead, please share.
No, I mean, the Nation was my first taste of the idea of reparations. If you look on the back of the old Muhammad Speaks newspaper, what did we want? They were talking about reparations. The second person that I heard reparations from was Dr. Claude Anderson. But, you know, in her own way, Yvette and Tone did bring it home for me. And that re-sparked my heart of activism as far as reparations is concerned. Especially talking about money. Shit, let's get this money. You know, and look, we gotta wait a minute. Look at Cynthia's picture. She look like she about to shoot somebody, don't she? Don't she? She do not look like she can be messed with, does she?
Oh my God, she look ready. She look like that's a Panther look right there.
Yeah, honey. For real. Shit.
That's a Panther. That's a Panther first lady look. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm going through, and we're going to pray out and get out of here. We got to do it. We can't be distracted. That's right, Cynthia. Toothy says, what about the committee members that were at the hearing? Do they have any pull yet?
Oh, the main, like I said in the beginning of the broadcast, the main three that we need to focus on with emails, social media contacts, calling their offices, Sheila Jackson Lee, Congressman from Texas, Jerry Nadler, Congressman from New York, and Steve Cohen, Congressman from Tennessee. They have the power, and they are the three. We forget about Narcan and Cobra, forget about everybody else. Those three are the ones that we need to target.
And not only target. Not only target, you have to do it daily, like the Montgomery bus boycotts,
right?
Like the civil rights movement, how they would stage sit-ins regularly.
Exactly.
All of that has to be done through the social media. So you got to just put it on your to-do list to do every day. We've got call scripts, we've got Twitter language, Facebook. We got everything you need over at www.fixhr40.com. Everything you need is over there to be effective at this. There are about 15 names on that list, but Arthur, and I typed it in the chat, told us to specifically target three, right?
3.
Sheila Jackson Lee, Cohen, and Nadler.
Those 3.
If y'all just stuck, if that was your square, every day, press resend and make your phone calls to those 3 with your scripts. Honey, let me tell you something. They'd be so worn out that they would eventually have to start talking cash repair.
Right.
Wear them out. And I mean, you just got to go hard in the paint until they cut the checks.
Right.
You can't let up. Okay? Just know that. We're almost at the end. Okay, we need to do a political blitz. That's right, Cynthia.
There you go.
A political blitz, like I said, just pretend this is the Montgomery bus boycott and the civil rights movement and get to work. I want that bill out of Sheila Jackson Lee's hands. She should not be at the helm of this bill, says Kelly Pryor. I don't know how we gonna do that. She got a tight grip on it.
No, she might get tired too.
Oh, Josh, be the power. Hey, love you, boo. Lord, this whole thing jumps sometime. Lord, today I thought we was almost done. Arthur, I hope you could stay a little over.
Yeah,
I'm surprised
his hotspot held up as long as it did.
I'm happy. Okay, so the Blackboard, welcome to the live, my love. I love all the receipts. At the end of the day, we must never forget and always understand white people have chosen the winners and the losers. They intend for us to keep losing.
Okay.
Well, darling, guess who don't intend for us to keep losing?
Right. See, I'm going to extend on that. What is our intent? What is our intent?
That's all we got to be on. Come on.
And we're human beings. The question is, what is our intent? Okay? Just like you guys can get out there on that court against an opposition that has won most games, but your intent is to win.
Yep.
We've won before. We're gonna have to win now.
Yeah, we can't give in, we can't give up, we can't give out.
Too much money.
Our resolve has got to be greater. You know how they said we got to be 20 times better than them?
Right.
We got to be louder than the naysayers.
Right.
That's why we need all hands on deck.
Right.
There's no time to rest.
Right.
Our whole existence depends on this.
Right.
Our whole very existence.
That's right.
They're trying to extinct us.
They're trying to extinct us, and we got to get that bag.
Just look at how long we've been at about 35 million and the numbers are declining as the other numbers are growing. Look at that correlation between the millions that they've given up in abortion because they can't afford the children. Okay, the government sanctioned executions and the rest.
You know what though, Andrew, I'm going to push back on that a little bit. I don't think that other people's numbers should be part of our calculus when we are steeling ourselves for reparations. Because notice, the most reparated groups in this country are small. Indians, ain't that many of them?
Right.
It's barely 2 million Jews in this country. Okay. How many Japanese Americans are in this country? Not many. Okay.
Well, let me help you go,
That's not the calculus. The calculus is where we are mentally and politically. And if we're not where we need to be politically, this is a space that we have to fill with education, advocacy, and determination.
And I agree with all of that. But we also have to focus on the number because combined, the immigrants are at 70 million to our 35.
Sure.
And when you talk about adding 22 million more, you're talking about 92 million to our shrinking numbers, which means that as long as the Democrats continue to make a way for them to have access to citizenship, they will have replaced our vote and made us the permanent underclass. And it, like Dr. Claude Anderson said at the top of the show, if you think it's hard getting reparations as second class, you ain't got nothing coming as fourth class. So those numbers do matter. And we need to constantly be mindful that they are replacing the vote to deny us the justice claim and tether us to the bottom because that's what capitalism requires.
Okay. But at the same time, Angela, two things about the Hispanics. See, entitled descendants, that's getting out there. That's another t-shirt.
I like that. Ain't that good? That's toothy.
Right,
Patricia Woodard, thank you for joining the live. Tanya Princess Joan, thank you for joining the live, my love. I love my wife, 0007. Thank you. Go ahead, Arthur, to your point.
But you also got to remember that Hispanics are a fractured community. It's different communities within that group that we call Hispanics. And Hispanics still do not vote nowhere near the rate at which we do.
Not true. This particular, and you can look it up,
their numbers increased. They're like 42 million to Adocs 35 million. Their numbers spiked 20% for the Democrats this election cycle to the same degree that ours did. And there's more of them than there are us. So to me, it is it's like, I know that many of them are still conservative, but as the Democrats continue to give them access, they have no problem voting the way of their interest. And so when you're talking about making 11 million more undocumented Hispanics citizens, that's 11 million more votes you can count on. You're talking about giving driver's license to illegals, allowing the illegals to even vote. They're doing these things to win favor, to pull that demographic away from Trump. And it happened. And it happened. This last election cycle, they were voting, their numbers spiked 20%, while we're sitting over here believing that they don't vote in the same
no, I didn't say they didn't vote. But in Chicago,
not that they didn't vote, but we're saying that they don't vote to the degree that we vote. That's not true.
In Chicago, these Hispanics here are starting to trend Republican.
Well, I'm here to tell you that the Democrats are doing everything in their power to woo that demographic for that vote to replace ours. And it's working. So we can't afford to rest on what they used to do.
We cannot.
We have to lean in everywhere because everywhere is caving in on us. Patricia Woodard, okay, we have got to clean house. All skin folk ain't kin folk. Tanya Princess says it's called racial stratification economics. I love my wife 0007 says this government knows that if they left us alone and let us build this country, it would go to hell. This country has always needed us. We have to take the power back. What's up, Trey X? Thank you for joining the live. Can we sue the NAACP and the other gatekeeping orgs? Toothy asked. Thoughts, Arthur?
You can sue anybody you want.
Well, you will. And with what?
And you know what? And you know what? Yeah, they are gatekeeping organizations because actually they're white organizations.
Yes, they're run by white money.
Yeah, they're run by white. They always have been. They were founded by white people. They're what I call nigger management organizations.
As is Black Lives Matter.
Yes. But I think that our resources would be better spent building the reparations movement.
Absolutely. And getting our full-chested reparationists elected into the Congress. Visit www.equityadvocatesadvpac.com. I put it in the chat. We have to build the code first. We can't find the great candidates and then try to build money. The time to grow that cofer is now. We're at George Floyd 846. We're out of time fooling around with people who said we don't need a PAC while all the other groups are packed out. That's why they're getting all these benefits, because they got PACs. Okay? And their candidates are getting elected. When Kamala left her senatorial seat for the VP within one generation of being here, we've been over here a bazillion years, but within one generation, she gets to be within a stone's throw of the presidential seat. They did not replace her seat down here with a Black woman, an Adocs woman. They gave that to an Hispanic man. So that's what PACs do for you.
Yeah.
That's what working and moving as a block does for you.
Is he Mexican?
I don't even know. I think so. I'm not sure. Let me not quote it. I just saw that we didn't get replaced with a Black woman, even though Kamala is only brown in color. She is East Indian Brahmin caste and Jamaican Black, Indian Jamaican. She's not even Black Jamaican. She's Indian Jamaican, but they want to use identity and respectability politics to lull us to sheepwalk to the polls.
Right. Well, I call
it the auspice that we got a first Black VP. We ain't never had no first black nothing until it's Adocs as the
Right.
president and
Right.
Adocs as VP.
Well, I call it phenotype politics.
Yep. Tanya says they're talking about transgenerational trauma for the Jewish descendants.
Ooh.
Yeah. Transgenerational trauma. Same thing. Don't we need to weaponize that for ourselves?
Where is she getting that from? An article or a book? If it's a book, I want to get it.
Tanya, if you could share your source for that, we would all be benefited by it. Yes, Tanya is, heavyweight over in Facebook, slaying. Okay. She's a fighter. She's a comrade, beautiful comrade. Let's see here. Listen to the first debate between 45 and the cheater. Yes, Patricia Woodard. I put a segment of it at the top of the show when Jim Crow Sloppy Joe was asked about the reparations, and he pivoted to how immigrants built this country, and we need to get in line and make sure they're okay. Mm-hmm. He never even answered the question. Shanna says they dug his butt up right in time for Prop 16, talking about Ward Connerly. Shanna knows a lot about this because she was the one to hit me to the UC Berkeley numbers dropping after Prop 209. What those numbers look like today for ADOCs being educated in the UC systems.
Is he still chancellor over at the UC?
I don't know, Shanna. If you're Ward was UC region president. He left, paid well. She said. I can't even I tried to Google his current net worth. It says between 1 and 5 million. Mm-hmm. Ward knows, but he made it very clear in 95. Yeah, he was the one to help white and immigrants weaponize racism against us. To say it's pretty much reverse racism to afford us quotas in the UCs because of our blackness. That's what happened.
Racism.
And got that passed, got that off. And now these Mickey Fickies showed up in droves at the Senate hearings where we were trying to be pro Prop 16. They came out to defeat it at the Senate hearings. Okay, it was a zoo. I mean, they not only came on the Prop 16 calls for the ones that were yes for Prop 16, they were on those calls and the no's. They took it over. I think every Asian down here took off from work and just to be on those phones. They couldn't even speak the King's English good, but they knew no on Prop 16 as if they had been rehearsed. That's how they move. While we're wealthless and fractured, and the only commodity we've got is our vote.
So
we won't weaponize it.
So the nail shots were empty, huh?
I'm sure they were that day. I'm sure they were that day. They was on the phone. They sell out for cheap. Monica Tolliver, welcome to the live. And the Asian community were the biggest supporters against Prop 16. You best to know it. And guess what? The Asian Indians are liquid down here. $465,000 liquid in 2014. It's probably doubled by now.
Yeah, it's like that in Chicago too.
$200 liquid. ADOCs $200 liquid in 2014. Kamala's people 420, maybe it was 425. 425,000, 465,000, same thing. Richer than us by a far stretch. Lawrence says 65 Naturalization Act was intended to sabotage our reparations in the future. We got to remember they think over 20 years ahead.
Yes.
Where's the lie?
That's true.
I mean, Martin Luther King Jr. spoke on this, as did Dr. Claude Anderson.
Yes, he did.
They're at the top of my show. Dr. Claude Anderson is talking about the replacement of us and what we're going to be faced with. I opened the show with a segment of him explaining and breaking down the numbers for Hispanics and Asians.
And the numbers were almost exact, weren't they?
Yeah. So we got people that are thinking ahead and lecturing about it. But the problem is we're too scattered and we're not focused on our politics in the way that we need to be. That's why this show, that's why Arthur and Cynthia created the 13%.
Right.
That's why Josh and Naeem and them, Logic and Ali Bay and Grimm created Be the Power.
Right.
Okay? So please, it's like New Black Media, we're here. Folks need to turn off the mainstream media and get this education so they can understand what they're fighting for.
Mm-hmm.
The foolishness of it all. I would have rather kept Trump. Let me tell you something. Okay, so since she brought this up, this is where I can speak on it. When I say weaponize the vote and socialize the suffering, I mean exactly that. And what I'm suggesting is no different than Dr. Charles Morris, pastor of Abyssinian Church, suggested after we delivered Teddy Roosevelt the vote. We delivered him the seat only for him to turn around and dishonorably discharge 167 Buffalo soldiers for being wrongfully accused of executing a second white man after being quarantined in their barracks for being accused wrongly for murdering the first white man. Dr. Charles Morris said, you shot us when our guns were empty. And for that, we're going to return the same by delivering a blue top of the ticket and a red Congress to protect the Black South. What I am pushing until my dying breath is a red top and a blue Congress to protect the over 53% of American descendants of chattel slavery who rely on government assistance by design of institutional systemic racism. All of this trying to get around that is in vain.
Right.
Nobody has the power of the two-party system. We've already had the Green Party on this show. These Mickey Fickies will even rob the Green Party of votes and leave them in a truck somewhere before they allow the Green Party to win. So we must do akin to what Dr. Charles Morris recommended and give them a red top and a blue Congress and let them fight and get nothing done until the Democrats have a come to Jesus meeting and run their reparations by 2024. Well, we could do that the next election cycle. By 2028, they should be cutting checks.
Right. No more of this.
Or we wash, rinse, repeat.
Right.
That needs to be our square until they cut those checks into trillions over multi-generations. Not a trifecta of either party is to the peril of Adocs.
That's right.
Arthur, you want to speak on it?
And no more the okie doke. We got to wake up. We can't. You already spoke on Teddy Roosevelt, but we also need to speak on Teddy Roosevelt's cousin, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and the okie doke that he pulled on Mary McLeod Bethune when she helped deliver the black vote for him.
Come on.
And then he comes out with a GI Bill. He comes out with Social Security, and he doesn't want to appear racist or anything like that. So he hands over control of these federal programs to be administered by the state. So you got these black soldiers coming back that can't access their GI Bill all the way up until the early 1970s. Honorably discharged people, okay? And then Social Security being, they gave what they did with Social Security, they gave an overall picture of what Social Security looks like at the federal level, and then the details were filled in by the states. So therefore, that excluded domestic workers, people that used to work on farms, people that work with their hands as laborers and stuff. So who were the ones mostly doing that? Niggas. And y'all ain't getting no damn Social Security. So we're not gonna let any details slip by. We're gonna listen to every word, and we're going to move decisively for our interests.
That's
with
the only
no
way.
piggybacking.
We can't do this, vote anybody at the top of the ticket.
No, hell
we
no.
have to be deliberate. We are at George Floyd 846.
That's right.
Never forget it. Okay? That was after Eric Garner. Remember?
Right. Exactly.
After Mike Brown. After Trayvon Martin.
Exactly.
And let's stop pretending that this happened in the last 4 years of Trump. This went on under Obama and has been going on. It's nothing new under the sun. It's just being televised. So we need to weaponize our vote and socialize this suffering, or we are doomed.
Right.
They will continue to kill us, jail us, and rob from us. Get us overwrought with debt, student loan debt, where white high school dropouts are more gainfully employed than black college degrees.
Yes.
So we ain't got time to be sitting up here, you know, vote anybody at the top. No, I'm straight out my mouth telling you that Trump, to Miss Lady K Love's point, at least he was building that wall.
Right.
Biden came up with the crime bill that Harris executed on.
Yeah.
To jail 1 million black men. I think it's 2 million by now.
Well,
but Trump, real quick, and you can jump in. Trump was building the wall to keep this immigration out that they're now about to open the floodgates. Who in the world do you think that hurts? While y'all sitting up here in your feelings over what Trump tweets.
Well, see, this is a thing that's partly the cause of the storming of the Capitol. These poor white people, these poor white people, and these lower middle class white people, immigration is not just going to hurt blacks. It's going to hurt them too.
No, it hurts us the most.
Yeah, I know it hurts us the most.
Because we're already on the bottom.
Yeah, and that's why they were storming. You understand what I'm saying? You know,
they see what's happening.
That was a class thing between whites.
You better know it.
But what else was I going to say?
I'm just saying that his wall was helping blacks.
Us.
You see?
No, I was going to say that Trump didn't do anything for us. Okay, but at the same time, Trump didn't create any legislation directly to hurt us like Kamala and Biden did. So I think Kamala and Biden is much worse than Trump when it comes to blacks. That's why I kind of would have preferred him to stay in office.
You better know it, because there's, you know, you get to lull back to sleep under covert racism. That overt racism had folks in a dander. Everybody was marching. I don't know that if Biden Harris was in office, would we have had to turn out throughout the globe for George Floyd? I doubt we would have. Okay, that was more about magnifying Trump's overt racism.
Right.
But the worst kind of racism is the covert one.
Covert.
That is what Biden Harris are.
You mean white liberal racism?
Yes, that's what they are, and they come in all colors.
They come in all colors,
as we just saw demonstrated at the HR40 hearings.
They come in all colors, and then when they have their little moments on media, when their racism comes out, then they have convenient cleanup people like Michael Eric Dyson to come in and, you know, help them to atone for their sins. You know, so we got the biscuiters all over the place, and we have to be hard about our money.
We have to be hard, and we have to like wear them out. Like I said, fix HR40. We're coming up with other legislation to replace it, and we're on our square. We're still moving.
Right.
Okay. So blacks easy to be misled and fooled by CNN and MSNBC. Diane Scott, welcome to the live. We need to tell our elderly. Lawrence says we need to tell our elderly don't take the vax until they get our family history together for reparations. Ooh, that's interesting. Are they trying to kill off our history so that we can't tie? I don't think they can, Lawrence, anyway. Like I said, we were insured. We carry our master's last name.
Right.
There's no way not to know who we are. We're about 84% of this country.
Right. 94% of the descendants of slaves still live here.
Yep. And we stand in the shoes of, so don't let them run that trick bag on you that everybody that's supposed to get a check is dead.
Right. Slavery was a business. They kept very, very good records.
Extremely
good.
So they know who we are, honey, but I hear you. That's deep. Right. Separation, not segregation. Amen. Separation.
Yeah.
From Lawrence. Tanya says there's no separate and unequal. Shanna, Ray Ray too. Miss Lady K Love, I'm living by Ishti neighbors. I'm trying. I'm living by shitty neighbors. They are basically trash. I've got to move. Yeah. Well, that's what happens when they render you a wealthless group. You can't do the politics to change your conditions.
Right.
When they sit up here and they're no to cash repair, they're only giving programs with the left to give away with the right, like they did affirmative action. That's the purpose of the show, to point those distinctions out to you so you don't get lulled back to sleep. Yeah, so yeah, a lot of our people, as a matter of fact, these race soldiers' bullets don't know any pedigree. Okay, you could be living high off the hog in a more, gentrified neighborhood, have to come over to drop off Pookie like the sister did during the riots in Philly.
Right.
Remember?
Right.
I don't know who had gotten executed by the race soldiers, but there were riots going on, and she went across town to go and get her nephew, and they broke through her windows, the race soldiers did, and pulled her and her teen nephew out the car and left the toddler in there, and then took a photo op as if the mother of the child had allowed her child, her baby, who was around 2, to walk around on the broken glass that they broke, pretending like during the riots, this child was left unattended. Now, she was some type of medical worker.
Right.
Who didn't live on the side of town. She took a wrong street.
Right.
And got jammed and hemmed all the way up. So don't get too comfortable, because the problem is, if you have the capacity to be a unicorn and to live in a more gentrified neighborhood, your people don't.
True.
And you can't afford to move them over by you.
No.
So you still have to deal with your people who are stuck in the shitty neighborhoods that Miss Lady K Love is talking about.
Right.
You could get caught up over there. You might be in a neighborhood like where I am right now, where the condos, 1,000 square feet, selling for $525,000. You might have that luxury, right? But then you got to go over to South Central. Okay, there's some nice homes in South Central. I'm just trying to come up with a rough part of LA, East LA. You got to go over there, because that's where your people, your brother, can afford to live. And you get jammed up because that's where the race soldiers are.
Right.
Their bullets know no pedigree. They're not going to stop me if my brother live in East LA to ask me if I'm college degree, to ask me if I'm a homeowner in a gentrified community, to ask me if I work a corporate job. Their bullets don't give a damn. They'll snatch me up while I'm over there handling business with my family in East LA, because they're 200 liquid.
But they'll do that anywhere. If you're black, I don't care what neighborhood. I'm telling you. I'll tell you from direct experience, it doesn't matter what neighborhood you're in.
I said, Michael said, who scratched their balls over there, sis? When I get going, anything can come out. I was talking about Rahm Emanuel. Someone mentioned in the chat that Rahm actually closed 50 schools.
Right.
And I said he want to sit there and scratch his balls like he don't know why black on black crime and murder is happening.
Well, yeah. Well, he's been observed scratching his balls. So, I mean, that's not.
Listen, if my church family is watching, fast forward to these little ratchet parts. I can be mighty ratchet. See, my tribe give me permission to be ratchet. I can't help myself when I'm with my people. This is my tribe.
It's called.
It's a whole other tribe. I'll be on the morning call, meditate with y'all. Namye Ho Renge Kyo. I'll be over there.
It's called ratchetity.
But this is where I can be free. This helps me. I'm telling y'all, family, it keeps me young.
Yes.
My doctor said, my God, your organs and your blood is 20 years younger than your chronological age.
Really? Your doctor told you that?
Yes.
So you gonna keep going back to him, right?
Well, It was a her. It was a her. My female doctors. Of course I am. Do you know how many wrinkles fell away when I heard that news? When I heard that my body is functioning like that of a 35-year-old, all the wrinkles went away.
What would you do?
I actually believed it.
What would you do if you found out she was telling all her patients that same?
Don't come over here being messy. Dr. Ward. Don't come over here being messy. That's her story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay. Back to the show.
See, you joking. It's the truth. I have no health issues.
Okay.
Because why? I come over here and I vent. I let the stress out with my audience who understand where I'm coming from.
Wait a minute. So after the show, you just so nice, quiet, and meek, and
let me tell you something.
cuddly.
After the show, I need a cocktail in my bed. I need my cocktail in my bed. That's why I don't even come on this show but twice a week. I try to do this every day. Then I said I'm gonna mess up my perfect record of 35 and 55. Okay, well I'm 54. But she said, you know, your body, your everything. Like I said, well, do I need to take vitamins? She says no. She said, do you take vitamins right now? I said no. She said, why? Do whatever you're doing currently. So I drink my limeade, a half a gallon to a gallon with a whole, couple limes in it with cayenne pepper and chia seeds and a touch of maple syrup, dark. I drink a half gallon to a gallon of that a day. I bought an amazing bed that reclines and contours to my body, king size. I have a nice flat screen TV back there that I luxuriate in front of. I get plenty of rest. I go to the beach every day to work out. Okay? So that's how you show up. And then I come here on Fridays and Sundays to vent. And that's how you too can get a report from your doctor that you are 54 functioning like that of a 34-year-old.
Well, I'm 64.
Okay. Okay. No health issues. None. Not a one. No high blood pressure. None of it. No. And I've got a spiritual walk. I definitely connect with the inner Christ, the God in me on a regular.
I see.
Okay. So she know who she made. Okay. So that's how I keep, that's why I'm Bonita Buttons over here. I'm Bonita Buttons.
Okay.
Okay, y'all. We had 2 hours 42. I don't want to detain Arthur. It's so late his time. Let me let him go get his beauty rest so he can stay looking 35 and 65.
No, I'm about to bust this open.
That's what's up, darling. I'm about to make me a frozen caramel apple. What is it? I'm gonna put some Crown in my caramel apple ice cream. I'll put some Crown apple in there.
Now that doesn't
lots of it.
That doesn't sound very healthy.
That's a yummy non-dairy dessert that has graham cracker crumbles and a ribbon of caramel. And then I pour that Crown apple. Yeah. I pour that Crown apple on top of that with that creme de cacao, the dark creme de cacao. I let all that melt and sip it through a straw like a nice milkshake. that makes all this trauma go away because it is the bomb.com. Do you hear me?
I see.
It's made out of oat milk or something. But I love you so much, family. I can't read. Y'all just keep typing, and we're going to be here till tomorrow. We're going on 3 hours, and I just can't do that to my guests because they might not come back.
No,
I love y'all so much. I love you so much, Arthur, for doing this show with me. I hope you don't stay a stranger. Well, you usually come whenever I ask.
Yeah.
And I only call when it's an emergency. Unless I need your help.
Yeah, at least unless I got some kind of Chicago reparations meeting for our organization. Or,
exactly.
If I got another show to do.
No, and I understand that.
Yeah. But as soon as Cynthia heals up, we're going to be back on the air.
I can't wait for the 13%, y'all. Please look up the archives at YouTube, the 13%. Check out all the new Black media. Be the Power. I saw Josh in here. They did a show on this too that I can't wait to watch. It's just rich, family. The new Black media in the YouTube and Facebook spaces. Be the Power. 13%. Of course, the new Reparationist perspective. We're about the ones that's doing the really heavy hitting when it comes to making the case for reparations. Like, you know, and we all come from different perspectives, different angles, different guests. It's just rich. If you want to really hone up and brush up on your education, please check out these 3 amazing shows. We've all got archives over in the YouTube. You need to like, share, subscribe. When you thumbs up, it helps the algorithm. So please share this, make it go viral, family. We need everybody in the fight. Don't forget to visit fixhr40.com and get your marching orders. Everybody gets to be in the movement. Did you have any closing words before I pray us out?
No, Angela, actually, I enjoyed you. I enjoyed our guests. It's always been a wonderful show. And it's good that you catch me before my brain succumbs to senility, okay? So.
Thank you so much. Let me put a covering over us the way I usually do, family, to remind you that the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Adocs and its allies are, God truly is. Because why, family? You are the face of God. You are the voice of God, family. You are absolutely the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. Until Sunday, family, where I'm going to bring you another fire show. You make it a beautiful, God-inspired rest of your evening and weekend. And you go out in this world and you show them exactly who you are. Know this, if nobody told you today, that I love you, Black family, and I love you so strong. Good night, family. Peace. Thank you, Arthur.
Thank you.
I'll be in touch.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.